Stop Me If You've Heard This One by Kristen Arnett. We've got a banger here. This was 5 stars. This was better than I expected it to be, and I'm gonna be honest, I went into this expecting it to be 5 stars because I just finished not too long ago reading another Kristen Arnett book, Mostly Dead Things, and I loved that, and I was very excited for this to come out. This is her latest release. It just came out like less than a month ago, a couple weeks ago, and I was very excited to read this. It has a very interesting premise that I've never seen before, and I probably will not see again. I think Kristen Arnett is a good writer. I'm really enjoying her work so far. Probably one of my best author discoveries so far of this year. I thought this was her second novel. It is actually her third. She has a book called With Teeth that I haven't read yet, but I want to read it because her other 2 books have been great. So this is a contemporary literary fiction novel about a clown. A woman, a 28-year-old woman who wants to be a clown. She takes this seriously. She is a clown. She's been a clown for a long time, but she's not a full-time clown who's very well recognized or well respected or well known. But she sort of clowns part-time. She works part-time at an aquarium store, and she does this to just, pay her bills and finance her clowning passion. And this is really a book about her and her career and her deciding what she wants her career to be and the balance between capitalism and art and self-respect and self-identity, and what does she want to be? What does she want this act to be? Does she want to sell it? Or does she want to do something different? Or should she change it up? Should she adapt? Should she do these other things? She's presented with a couple of sort of career opportunities throughout the novel, and it's really a character piece. The plot is not as important as the development of the main character, and it's really about her as a person and also her and her career. I love this book immediately. This book has an incredible opening chapter. Not even opening chapter, just immediate opening scene, opening lines. You're like, this book is something I have never read before, and I loved it. This book opens on our main character, Cherry, doing a clown gig at a 6-year-old's birthday party, but it's not her doing the gig at the party, it's her fucking the kid's mom in the bathroom, because the mom has a clown fetish, and it is ridiculous in the best way. It's revealed later that this mom is actually straight. She just has such a clown fetish that she does not care about the gender of the clown. She just wants to be fucked by a clown. So her clown fetish overrides her sexuality, which is just hilarious. I laughed so much at this. It's not like sexy. I mean, it's kind of explicit. It's not super explicit, and it's not meant to be like a super sexy, steamy, ooh, isn't clown sex so hot? It's mostly funny. But it does a great job setting up this main character, actually. I'll get into it. But I loved the absurdity. I could analyze this scene. Half of this video is probably going to be me analyzing this one scene, this opening scene, because I think it's a great way to show the character, the main character. It's a hook for the novel, and it sets up what the novel is going to be. I think it teaches. It's just such a great way to start a novel that it's worth analyzing why it works so well. So the absurdity of her fucking this woman in the bathroom because the woman has a clown fetish at her son's birthday party while her husband is just outside. Her husband catches them, so they get caught. And the woman ends up stealing her makeup, her fancy, expensive clown makeup, which is just hilarious. And she gets, kicked out of this party by the husband, and it is just slapstick and outrageous and absurd. And I think that is such a great hook for the novel. I love it when authors lean into the absurdism and just go balls to the wall and have fun with it. There's another moment in this scene where the woman asks, "Do you have a dick?" She's like, "I know you're a girl clown, but did you bring your strap on?" And Cherry's like, "No, actually I didn't bring my strap on to the 6-year-old's birthday party. But that's not the spirit of clownery. I'm not gonna tell her that. I'm just gonna make it work." And so she pulls out a trick magic wand, one that can go floppy, and then she makes it rigid. like a dick, and then she fucks the woman with the magic wand. Hilarious. And she's also she's doing like the clown voice the whole time. She has the clown outfit on. It is such a performance, and it's crazy and it's ridiculous, and that's how you open a novel. I think this absurdism and this specificity is great. As a writing technique, I'm going to use a completely different example, but you'll see often when inexperienced writers write a main character that is very boring. They think mistakenly that this is a good way for the reader to project themselves onto this blank slate of a main character, and they think that vagueness will make them relatable and allow the reader to relate more to this character and like them more. But it's actually the opposite. It's actually just boring to do that. And so if you have a main character who is very specific and has a strong personality and does these outlandish things, that is way more entertaining to read about just from an entertainment perspective, but it's also more relatable in a way because we're all different people and we all do weird things and we all have these weird experiences, and just to have this vague, passive, blank slate of a character isn't that interesting. And it's not that this main character is like super wacko crazy. That was just an example for why this absurdism works, because you could have toned this scene down, right? A more hesitant writer would have been like, oh, this is like too much, you know, maybe I'm going too far. Like maybe I can cut back on some of this, you know. Most people don't have a clown fetish. This is like, it's just too over the top. Should I hone it in? Would this put people off? But it doesn't put people off. It's hilarious and ridiculous, and it immediately gets you into the novel because it is so specific, and you will never read the scene in any other book ever again. It is memorable, and it is fun, and it is wacky, and that's just good entertainment, and it's a great hook. This is one of the better opening scenes to a novel that I can remember. I would say most novels don't have a strong opening scene like that, but when it's there, like, you love it and you really appreciate having something like that. This scene also does a great job introducing Cherry. The scene opens on Cherry doing a sort of monologue on the academic, theoretical nature of comedy. She's talking about comedy as like a concept that you can learn, and like really getting into the inner workings of like what makes comedy work and why we like comedy, while she's fucking this woman with a clown fetish. And you'd think the woman with the clown fetish would be into this since she likes clowns, but this is a great way of showing that this woman is very superficially interested in clowns. She does not care about the academia of comedy. She just likes the wig and the big shoes and the weird voice. So she actually tells Cherry to like shut up. Just stop talking and fuck her. And it shows the state that Cherry is in. It sets this up as literary fiction, which that scene I described does not sound like literary fiction. That sounds like a comedy. But the way it is introduced, like the first lines of this book are so like heightened. I can't think of a word better than like academia. But Cherry is in such a non-sexy mood here while she's having sex with this woman. She's like literally thinking about how much she loves clowning. She loves clowning. Like, this is her life's passion. She loves making people laugh. She loves the craft of it. She loves the art. And she talks repeatedly throughout this book, and you see repeatedly throughout this book, that a lot of people don't understand her art, especially clowning. A lot of people are scared of clowns. A lot of people just think they're weird. A lot of people don't understand why anyone would want to be a clown, think it's like a dying art, you know? This cat's a clown. And this superficial sexual encounter with this woman is a great way of showing how superficially other people around her treat clowning. And they don't understand it the way Cherry does, and the way she has this passion for it and this love for this craft. So that's a great job setting up the character. It's a great job setting up what this book is going to be, because you get a lot of these deep discussions about art and performance and how it impacts people and how comedy plays such a role in our lives. And in a way you've never thought about, because I've never think about clowns. I don't know. I don't have a clown fetish. I'm not a clown. I just don't think about clowns. And it was really kind of interesting to hear this perspective of this woman who's doing this sort of strange to a lot of people craft and really loving it and enjoying it and treating it very wholesomely and very purely. It's a pure love for the craft. So this scene just does a lot of things, and it also shows you Cherry's willingness to sort of indulge in the superficiality of the people around her. That's not the way to say this, but you can tell that she doesn't have a lot of people in her life who understand performance, and especially clown performance, on the level that she does, and so she just kind of takes what she can get, you know. She fucks the clown fetish mom, the straight married clown fetish mom, who steals her makeup and gets her almost beat up by the husband, like puts her in this sort of shallow bad situation where she doesn't really get anything out of this. She's not gonna marry this woman, you know, they're not gonna fall in love, but she sleeps with her anyway because you know, she likes some validation, there's some instant gratification in the moment, but she has not met a person who connects on her level. So this is just a fantastic opening scene that hits so many points. It does so much work, and I loved it. It's also titled Cold Open, which is a great title for a first chapter. This book has chapter titles. Again, that's kind of a rarity nowadays. I feel like chapter titles have fallen out of favor. But all of the chapters in this book have chapter titles. And they're all like puns, like Cold Open, or like clown references, like Send in the Clowns, or Orange You Glad, or there's one I really liked called Romantic Jester, like jester instead of gesture. So I liked that this had little titles. And they did like tell you certain things about what would happen in the chapter. But anyway, I talked about how this main character isn't super like wacky. I do like her as a person. She is pretty relatable. She's like a pretty normal person. This is a strange thing to say, maybe. I really liked that this woman didn't have depression. I feel like I've been reading a lot of literary fiction where the main character is just depressed and in their head and wallowing and getting very existential because they have depression. And this character does not have depression. There's a lot of shitty things in her life. Her life is not great. She's not satisfied where she wants to be in her career. She's not satisfied romantically. She's very poor. She's scrounging for money. She's in debt. She does have a dead brother, so grief is a part of this. Her brother was her mom's favorite child, so she's just like the extraneous child. She doesn't have a great relationship with her mother. She doesn't always have a great relationship with her best friend, Darcy, who she works with at the aquarium store. So she has a lot of problems, but she just gets on with it and like does something about it and is very proactive. She never gives up, which I really liked. She just keeps trying, keeps going. She keeps trying to figure out what she wants to do next and what she wants with her life and how she's going to make herself feel satisfied in whatever position she's in, even if she is poor, even if she's not getting these gigs of her dreams, you know. What is she going to do to be happy and fulfilled, and what steps can she take proactively? She's a very active main character, and I like that. She's not passive, she's not wallowy. She's sad, there's moments of sadness, there's moments where she's down on her luck, but she always gets going and tries to improve her life and herself and, you know, carry on. So I really liked that, even though it feels weird to say, like, finally, a book for us neurotypical people. But I feel like I've been reading a lot of literary fiction where everyone's just sad and depressed and wallowing and feeling sorry for themselves, and this is a woman just living her life, and it's not the greatest life at all times, but she's, you know, doing the best what she can with it. She does have her quirks. She's a pretty normal person, but she does have her quirks. She loves milfs, which is evident by her fucking this mom at the beginning of the book. It also sets up her love for milfs. She's very explicit about that. She talks about Leonardo DiCaprio only dating people younger than 25, and she says, couldn't be me. And she is always talking about the milf of her dreams, and she lies about her age on dating apps. She's 28. She says that she's 39 on dating apps so that she can meet more milfs, which is iconic. This is a book for the milf lovers. If you're into milfs, you'll like this. I'm not really into milfs. I like a good milf joke, though. And there's a lot of milf jokes in this, because there's a lot of milfs. But anyway, that's a plot point. Her liking milfs is a major plot point of this book. She ends up on a date with this woman, this magician, named Margot the Magnificent, who is a recently divorced MILF magician, which is fun. I've never read a book about a lesbian clown or a lesbian magician, let alone a clown and a magician fucking each other with an age gap. Again, this is a very unique book. I love a unique premise. I love a wacky premise. I love that the author wasn't afraid to go there. It's just fun. It's just a good time. But anyway, she sort of intentionally sets up this date with this woman. Like, she just randomly sees her on a dating app, but she really pursues this woman because she's a pretty well-respected, established magician, and Cherry is really into her craft. She really admires this woman and respects what she's done and her performance. And so she thinks that Margot will be a great networking contact. She thinks that Margot will take her in as a mentor, and Margot does have a business idea for them. And that's a plot point. And, you know, there's a plot point of does Cherry want to go into business with Margot, or does she want to do her own thing? And even the relationship, like, Margot's recently divorced. Cherry's still figuring herself out. Are they ready to have a relationship? Don't spoil anything. I do like where this ends. I think it ends in a really realistic, like, honest way. It's not, like, the most romantic book. The sort of romance is secondary to just Cherry's personal growth journey. I wouldn't have minded a bit more romance, but that's just because I'm a sucker for romance. I love a good romance in a novel. But I do like what's given here. I do like their dynamic. Margot's a very sort of stern, kind of controlling older woman who is successful and has money and likes things a certain way. And that's a very big difference between her and Cherry. So you really see a unique dynamic amongst these characters compared to Cherry with other characters in her life. Other relationships include her relationship with her best friend Darcy, which is kind of fraught, her relationship with her mom, and also her relationship with her mom's new girlfriend. So her mom is also a lesbian, which is cool, even though they don't get along. She even talks about how you'd think we both get along because we're both gay, but no. She sort of starts out not liking her mom's girlfriend, and then she does kind of like her mom's girlfriend, and they have a really sweet scene together where the mom's new girlfriend is like a better mom than the mom is. So that's really cute. There's also some drama with who the mom's girlfriend is, which I liked, even though I guessed it wrong. Because when it's revealed that the mom has a new girlfriend that the daughter just found out about, I was like, it's gonna be this person. But it wasn't that person, it was someone else. So sadly I was wrong, but I thought I was being really smart and predicting it accurately, and I was not. But it doesn't matter. There's some like small world lesbian shenanigans in this, like where all the lesbians know each other and have all dated each other's exes before. That's sort of a little plot point in this with the mom and the daughter, which sort of remind me of Mostly Dead Things. The main character of that book is fucking her brother's wife. It's not exactly like that in this book. It's less direct, but it's sort of like a sort of family affair kind of thing going on in some way, in a small way. More so in Mostly Dead Things than in this book, but I did feel like a running theme. Another running theme was both of these books were set in Florida, and they both feature protagonists with kind of a wacky career. I think this one's wackier, the clown book, but Mostly Dead Things is about a taxidermist. That book also has a fraught relationship between the mother and daughter. In that book, the mother doesn't like taxidermy, but she takes the taxidermied animals and makes very sexual art pieces with them. So it's also a book about art and performance and types of art and validation and self-fulfillment and what is art and what does art mean. So I do see a running theme in these books with this author. And I kind of like that. I kind of like that she has a unique style. I have no idea what With Teeth is about. I've heard of it, but I don't remember if I've read the description or not. So I'm excited to see if there's any parallels with that. But I could definitely tell that this book and Mostly Dead Things were written by the same person. I think I like this one more. Stop me if you've heard this one. Just because it was a more fun premise. I think Mostly Dead Things is a lot more about the family dynamics. This book is about the clown career mostly, and the family part is secondary. In that book, the family dynamic with her mom and her brother and her nieces and nephews, who are kind of like her kids since she was fucking their mom. That's a much more prominent aspect of the book. That's the main point of the book. But this is about the career, and I liked that more, I think. Just personal preference. They were both well written. This is a well written book. There are a couple of moments of like lit fic experimentation sort of style that like really show off the writing chops. There's sort of one scene at the end. It's kind of the climax of the novel in a way. I don't know. She's giving like a monologue, and it's sort of very different in tone from the rest of the book. But this happens twice. I guess they're both pivotal moments, like the climax monologue. It's a completely different format in the first moment of this book when this happens. You get these really short chapters that are almost from a different point of view. It is from Cherry's point of view. I actually wasn't sure at first. It's about Cherry watching Margot do this performance. She's at this big gala and she's doing her big Margot the Magnificent routine with her ex-wife, who is her assistant. And Cherry's watching this and she is blown away by Margot's magnificence and her craft. There are several little sections, like short little chapters, but they're not really chapters. They're like sections that talk about like the magician's craft. Instead of like the clown craft, we get these sort of theoretical musings on magic and illusion and performance and the mindset of a magician, and how she's thinking about the audience, but also how Cherry is perceiving her. And then it's interspersed with the first sex scene, which takes place directly after this performance. They're in a library, they like sneak off and fuck in the library. And all of these little sections, it starts out with an aspect of the performance, and then a portion of their little romantic endeavor afterwards, and then another aspect of the performance, and then another chronological entry in their sexual endeavor, and it goes through the sex and then like afterwards and the emotions dwelling on it. I'm not explaining it very well, but it's very well done in the novel, and it really shows off the writing chops. Even though first time reading it, I was wondering who this character was, since it was sort of like a different perspective. I thought maybe the other person in the sex scene with Margot was her ex-wife. I thought it was like how their marriage fell apart, like how they fell in love and how they hooked up after their performance together, and then how Margot ended up leaving her. But that's not what it is. It's Cherry. You realize immediately after that section that it was Cherry hooking up with Margot. She explicitly says that. It returns to Cherry's point of view, dead on, in Cherry's mind. It becomes much more clear. I wasn't confused for very long. But then that gave me a different appreciation of the scene going back to it. I really liked it, and it really shows Cherry's awe. I liked that it was Cherry's perspective because it's Cherry in a completely different way than we've heard her. You know, we've seen her in her day-to-day life, but we've never seen her admiring such great performance and really delving into what she loves about this art and her admiration for this woman who's creating this masterpiece of her craft. And it just shows the awe and the different headspace that Cherry can enter when she's involved in this craft and when she's admiring this art, as opposed to just the drabbery of her day-to-day life in a way. So the writing's really good. I really like this book. This book was narrated by the comedian Cameron Esposito, which I didn't know going in until the audiobook started. And it was like, hi, I'm Cameron Esposito. And I'm like, okay, I didn't expect to see you here. Nice to see you. They did a great job. I think this is the only audiobook she's narrated that I could see. I didn't know she did that, but it makes sense for a comedian to be narrating this book that's about like performance and comedy. So good choice. Interesting. Didn't know that. Nice surprise going into the audiobook. This physical book, this cover. I do need to have a whole section of this video be dedicated to this cover, because this shit is fucking ugly. I'm sorry, this bitch is garish. This was a choice. I see the vision with the sad clown and with the nose and the tear and the shape of the letters. I see the vision there. I don't know why the fuck this book is lime green. I couldn't tell you. The only mention of lime green in this book is a side character is wearing like a workout lycra outfit that happens to be lime green at one point. That character is not that important. She's just a hot MILF that comes to the aquarium store that Cherry works at, and she flirts with her and looks down her top at one point. I don't think that's why the cover's green. That doesn't make a lot of sense. That has no real significance. This color green has no significance to this book. It's not a color I associate with clowns. I associate clowns with like white, yellow, red, blue, colorful, but not in this sort of vibrant artificial colorway. When I think of clowns, I don't think lime green. I think like retro colors, like dull yellows and reds. And I don't know the significance of this. I think this cover's ugly because it is both too bold and too minimalistic. It's bold with a weird color choice, but there's like nothing going on, and that's not what I associate with clowns either. Clowns have all kinds of colors, all kinds of wacky shenanigans and props and things going on, and this cover's really minimal, and I don't like minimalistic covers. Like, this is just text and a clown nose and a tear. Okay. I just don't understand the design choice. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm not a graphic designer, so I have no qualifications to be shitting on this, really. So maybe my opinions on the cover aren't very credible or don't hold any weight. I do have a creative writing degree, though, so my opinions on the actual text of the book, which is incredible, those are valid. You can't come for me on those, because this is good writing, and I say so because I'm qualified to say that this is good writing. I'm not qualified to say that this cover's ugly, but I do have eyes, so... yeah, I just don't understand what they were going for, except for the sad clown motif, which makes sense, but why the green? I mean, I guess this stands out on a shelf. Like, if you saw this in a bookstore, your eye would go to it, but I wouldn't necessarily stop to pick up that book. I wouldn't be like, oh, it's that, I want to read that. I'd be like, what the fuck is that? Maybe the idea is that you notice it, and then you stop to be like, what is this? And then you read the description, and you're like, lesbian clowns, that's kind of interesting. I've never seen that before. And then you buy it anyway. I don't think that would happen to me. I'd be like, that's a choice. And then I would look at something else. I did rent this from my library. I'm not a person who buys a lot of physical books. Usually I only buy physical books if I really, really loved a book, or if I really love an author and I want to have their books. And it helps if the book looks nice. Sometimes I buy books to reread them or to support the author, but sometimes I also like having them as like a shelf piece, you know, to display. And this, I don't know that I would display this. I don't know that I want to look at this on my bookshelf every single day for the rest of my life. But it is a very good book. It's very well written. Like, I love the book. I can't say good enough things about this book. I really enjoyed this. This is probably one of my top books of the year. I'm very glad I discovered Kristen Arnett as a writer. I love this book. I just think the cover's ugly. It's just ugly. Oh, I wore this ugly yellow shirt to match. I don't own a lime green shirt because I don't know anyone who does. I've never even worn this shirt. I thought I would look as garish as I possibly could for this garish book cover, so we'd match. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who designed this. I don't have again, I'd have to have a physical copy to like look at the credit list to see who did the graphic design for this. I don't want to put them on blast. Maybe they like it. Supposedly the publisher and the author liked it, so I guess that's what matters. Although, I mean, the public perception does matter. Maybe I'm the odd one out here. I haven't really seen anyone talking about this book. This is a very new release, so I don't know anyone else's opinion on the cover, but I just can't imagine people being like, that's the most beautiful cover of the year. I'm gonna vote for this in a beautiful cover contest. It's just not to my taste. But the book's great, so I don't really care. The cover doesn't really matter. Make a great green screen. I don't know what you can do with it. There's probably some marketing tactic with that. I don't know, for the whatever intern at this publishing house, whatever the publishing house is, I don't know. If they're making TikToks promoting this book, they can, I don't know, I'd use a green screen on it. That'd be funny, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a social media intern either. So my social media ideas don't have any credibility either. Don't listen to me. It's just my opinion. But great book. Fantastic book. Loved it. Liked the way it ended. Again, a very honest ending. Very honest character. I liked the drama. I liked that it didn't wallow in the drama. It wasn't melodrama. It's not like comedy. It's not like super funny. It is more like literary than it is comedic. But there are definitely some funny moments and just like some absurdism. and it's just really good. It's a really good book about art and just growth, personal growth, and happiness and contentment and satisfaction and practicality and what not to do for cover design. But it's a wonderful book. Highly recommend it. One of my favorite books of the year so far. This might make my top 10 of the year, end of the year review, maybe. I mean, I don't know. We're only in April, so who knows what I'll read, but this was a very, very good book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. 5 stars. Big rec from me. Great book. Sad it's over. That's always a good sign. You read a book and you wish you were still reading the book. It's a good length though. It's not too long and it's not too short. So I'm just greedy and want more because it was so good. It didn't need more. It was a complete story, but I just wanted more because I enjoyed it and I liked it and I just want more. So I'm gonna read more Kristen Arnett books instead, actually. That's a better idea than making this book longer.